I wish it would obviously have never got to this point. I think it should have been handled before the road people were ever called. Again, I've never been hit with a taser, but it's my opinion that the taser wasn't properly operating. And had it been, I think the first contact with the taser, this situation would have been over. She would have been contained and put in the chair, and we wouldn't be here today. Am I blaming the equipment? No. I'm just saying that's what I believe.
Do you think the officers used too much force or too aggressive?
Well, I've been asked that before too, and it's not pretty. But as we discussed a while ago, the woman didn't have any clothes on. Had male officers put their hands on her, it would have probably been worse than this. They begged her to get on the floor. You know, if she is in a mental crisis or a drug crisis, people become stronger. So not being there, I'm not going to make a determination. Again, it doesn't look good. It's not pretty. Do I wish it happened? Of course I do. I wish I did. I wish it hadn't. But it did happen.
Let me get you to restate that part.
Do I wish it happened? Well, let me.
You said it doesn't look good, clearly.
Yes, it doesn't look good. I wish it hadn't happened. I wish it hadn't got to this point. It would have been ideal if she would have complied. It would have been ideal if the ladies could have dealt with her. But for whatever reason, that didn't happen. And it elevated to the situation that we have now.
Do you think, I mean, I imagine officers do go through in every department some training on how to use these things. Are officers trained, and do you think they use the tasers correctly?
Well, I think that goes back to the fact that I believe that had the taser properly operated, there would have been one shot from the taser, and it would have been over with. The arcing, I know that looks like it's arcing, and it is arcing, but I don't think that it was operating properly. I think I can prove that to you. And again, I think had it operated properly, Miss Smith would have been more compliant, and the situation would have ended long before it did.
What about the officer that appears to kind of kick her in the shoulder or somewhere? What about that?
Well, you would we've been through all this before, and I will say this. When this happened, when I found out about it, I immediately turned over to an outside agency to investigate it. That agency took it to the grand jury, and they did not indict her. I then took it to the Justice Department. They didn't do anything about it. I will say this, and a lot of people are trying to make a lot out of this that's not there, and there's plenty there. But she was not kicked in the head. She was kicked in the shoulder, and should that have happened? Probably not, because it should have never got to that point. But there is, without being scientific and being a defensive tactic instructor and all that, there is a point where you can be taken down on the shoulder like that with a sudden blow or strike to that area.
Whatever happened with those tasers?
We sent them back to the factory for being faulty. I'm sorry. And you'd have to ask my range master and my equipment officer about them. But we did send them to the factory, and it took a long time, but we got them back. Maybe not the same ones, but we did get replacements for them.
So do you think that proves there was something wrong with them?
I think so. Now, was I at the factory when they examined them? No, I wasn't. But I do believe that had they not been faulty, we wouldn't have sent them back. I believe that had they worked properly, we wouldn't be sitting here.
And the county ended up settling this case, right, for $20,000?
They settled it. I couldn't tell you until I saw the news last night. I was there when they settled it. I knew it was around that figure. And I want to say something now, if I can. Number one, if we hadn't have filmed this by procedure, we wouldn't be sitting here. We're the ones that provided the film. And number two, if I believe that Putnam County is right in what we've done, I will not settle cases. If I believe that we have some liability, I certainly will go to the table. That's what I did with Ms. Smith. She received a settlement that everybody thought was fair, including her attorney. And this is something that has been over with for some time. And I think we were fair to her.
Because some people will say, well, they settled because they were wrong.
Well, a lot of people are going to say a lot of things, and especially those who want to talk about us anyway. They're going to talk about us regardless of what we do. If we'd give her $10 million, they'd still talk about us. So it doesn't matter to me what they...
Yeah. Why did you settle?
I think your phone's still.
I'm sorry?
I think you're still connected to that phone.
Jeff? Not now.
Okay.
Thanks. Why did I settle it?
Yeah.
Because I thought it was the right thing to do. It's just that simple.
Not because you thought there was something wrong.
I'm not going to judge what happened, and I'm not going to override or second guess the United States Justice Department, nor am I going to override or second guess the grand jury of Putnam County. But I thought it was the right thing to do, and so we settled it.
Okay. Were there any changes in Taser policies or different things after this?
No.
Any additional training or?
We train every year. Again, everybody wants to say, well, you know, you failed to train, this, that. The tasers, in my opinion, did not work properly. And if you want to find somebody to volunteer, we'll go down in the basement right now and I'll prove it to you. They did not work properly.
Okay. And I have to just ask you too about the case involving James McCullum.
I'm not going to talk about that now. I'm not going to talk about that. I can't. I can't because I don't know anything.
Because it's like you've got these two dramatic cases involving tasers with the same.
Well, you know, yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. But I don't know anything about it to tell you. This is sensational stuff. But I'm not going to sit here and speculate on what might happen or what might not happen because I don't know. I have no idea where they're at with that. They don't touch base with me every day, and I don't call them every day. When they're ready to release whatever, they will. That's all I know.
Okay. All right, fair enough, Sheriff. Is there anything else that you want to get across to the public? I mean, because, you know, as a reporter, you know, I'm sent to do the story, but I don't have any dog in this fight, so to speak. I just want to be, you know, fair to you? Is there anything else you want to clarify or whatever? Because these stories are sensational, they do grab the headlines.
Mhm.
What do you want to say about your department, public image of it, that sort of thing?
Well, I have a little note on my door out there that says, find out the facts before you criticize. You know, the film speaks for itself. It's easy to criticize people when you're not sitting in their shoes, standing in their shoes. And it is sensational. Had something happened 2.5 years ago that was good, that this department did for somebody good that we do every day, that doesn't make the news. The sensational stuff that's easy to be criticized over, that's what makes the news. And I would, you know, I'm not the one down there and I'm not the one that did this, and I'm not trying to dodge any bullets. I'm responsible. But it's easy to criticize people for doing their job when you don't know what their job is.